Congressman, welcome back to the program. Let's start with Tuesday's elections. You do not have a primary opponent, but there are lots of big Republican matchups across the state. What will you be watching for on Tuesday when the results start to come in?
Well, of course, what we'll be watching for is who's getting the most votes. That's going to be important. We know there's a pretty large early vote turnout right now. But I think, on the statewide elections, see where the big cities are coming in at and what the margins look like because, Democrats have a pretty strong hold in the bigger cities, Republicans in the smaller areas and so forth. So whatever vote is going to be, I think it's going to be close. But I think we'll get a pretty good trend early on how it's looking statewide for both parties.
The Republican race for U.S. Senate, obviously a big one. The Republican race for Texas Attorney General. When you start to see those numbers, what are you looking for?
Well, I think you're looking at I think a lot has going to do supporting the president. I mean, do you support the president's itinerary or do you not? I mean, that's what seems to drive everybody anymore. I mean, you listen to Republicans, who we all want his endorsement. Democrats all want to attack him. So we'll see how it comes out. But I think at the end of the day, Texas is going to be in pretty good shape.
Let me ask about a story Politico published saying how Republicans there in Washington are growing more alarmed, Politico says, about that vicious U.S. Senate race in Texas. And they're saying it could cost them this must-win Senate seat here in the state. Majority Leader John Thune said, depending on who the Democrats nominate, it is not outside the realm of possibility, he said, that the seat could flip. Should Texas Republicans be concerned about that?
Well, if we're concerned about it flipping, absolutely. I think that we've got three good candidates. It appears, but it's going to be a runoff more than likely, so we'll have that to deal with. I think on the Democratic side, I haven't followed it that much, but Crockett gets a lot of press. I think some of the things she says are pretty outlandish. The young fellow she's run against, I think, has a pretty good reputation on the Democratic Party, so that'll probably be pretty close. And the Republican race is going to be close. Just the fact we've got three good candidates in there.
Have you endorsed in that race, Congressman? I refresh my memory.
No, I haven't endorsed. They're all friends of mine, and I happen to be on the ballot with them. So
Okay.
I have not
All
endorsed.
right. No worries. Just making sure on that. Let's shift off now to the State of the Union here. Uh, Congressman, you've built a brand as a small business owner who understands the overbearing government, how it can hurt Main Street. But when you listen to the president's State of the Union, has the Republican Party shifted too far towards culture wars and at the expense of economic conservatism? That's what I'm hearing from a lot of people.
Well, I tell you, the when we passed the big beautiful bill, did huge strides for Main Street American and small businesses. When we made tax cuts permanent, regulations, reducing regulations sizably to help community banks, 100% expensing for businesses, threshold of 15 million to 30 million on inheritance tax so people can save the family farm, along with other things. I mean, Main Street's pretty excited about what's ahead of them. And let's not forget we've got the largest tax refund coming back here between now and April. People see that money. I think they're going to realize that the economy is pretty good. You look at unemployment. You look at the Dow was 50,000 last week. Remember, we didn't think it would hit there for a long, long time. So things are positive. And I think, everything with Main Street's built on risk and reward. And we're creating our community banks have more access to capital now. And, I chair oversight of the SBA. We're doing great things in the SBA. We're going to raise the low limit from 5 to 10 million for manufacturing. So a lot of good things are happening, coupled with President Trump's investment for the youth that we're going to be able to put money in for those born in this past year and have a sizable account when they get to be 18 years old. All that stuff adds up. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of money coming through there when you say no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, tax cuts permanent, all the things I said. A lot of cash is going to come through our system. We've already seen it. The big problem, of course, is spending. Well, we need the cash for our country. And I think that's what we do as Republicans. I think President Trump understands that drastically. And frankly, if people are uncomfortable with people having the money rather than the government, that's where I disagree with them.
And talk about spending here for a moment, because, a lot of Republican primary voters and a lot of voters just in general in the state voted for Republicans thinking that they would spend less and try to get the deficit under control, though. We haven't necessarily seen that yet.
Well, we've seen a reduction in the deficit, and we've seen more cash flow coming through coffers of America than we've ever seen before. We're just spending so much. And I, as a businessman, understand that you can't you can't have more expense than revenue, and you can't be borrowing a lot of money because interest just takes a financial statement and tears it apart. And what the what the Democrats want to do is spend more money. And they offer no fixes as far as cutting expenses other than raising taxes on the rich, which of course will slow the economy down, slow the cash flow down. And that's the big argument we have. You believe in less government or big government.
Yeah.
And I believe what Trump's doing is the right thing. It's a lot of things we talked about before he was president. The expense control is something we need to take a look at. But there's got to be an appetite for it. Sometimes I think there's not that great appetite on either side to do it.
There's no question right now. Unemployment numbers are down. The stock market is hitting records right now. But the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas just put out a report last week saying that Texas, like the nation, has had very little job growth over the last year. So I'm curious how you reconcile the president's rosier economic message with the Texas job picture that's cautiously optimistic at best.
Well, I think we're going to be fine in Texas, but in the past, the Biden administration really made it hard on businesses to hire people because of the regulations that were involved. The profitability just didn't allow for it. Now, I think you're going to see businesses making more money. They're going to be able to pay taxes, know what they're going to be paying, but they're going to hire people for more jobs. And there's some of these jobs that are white collar and blue collar going to be cut out by AI. I understand that, but the thing we lack in Texas is we lack trade skills, and we need to do a better job of that. Plumbers, welders, carpenters, nurses, mechanics. And I've got a lot of bills out in the small business committee to make that happen. But we're going to have so much growth here in Texas. There's going to be so many jobs available for these young people in the trades to create a job and create a living, create a net worth. That Texas is going to lead the way. I'm not concerned about it, but if we just focus on lawyers and architects, we could lose some jobs. But we need to be focused on the trades, and that's what we're doing. And I think we're going to be fine with that. And because of the people we're going to have in those trade skills, I think we'll be getting a lot more business in Texas than we ever thought.
Well, let me ask about one of the president's policies. Texas business surveys show that firms across the state do expect inflation to ease, to go down this year, but they still worry about the high tariffs and the higher prices for some things here. But are you comfortable with the president's tariff-heavy approach here? And what are you hearing from small businesses across the state?
Well, that's a great question. I think for too long we paid sticker price. America has paid sticker price to our competitors, which is we should never do that. We should be paying cost. We should be paying the lowest price. So I think the tariffs begin to bring fairness in. And in my business, in the car business, the tariffs were the first thing we talked about, but we haven't seen any problems yet with losing business because of tariffs. And all we want is a level playing field, and that's what we're getting. And we need to be the supplier of, not the buyer of, and we're taking that position now. So I'm not so sure that the tariffs are going to be negative to the economy. I think they could be positive and create more cash flow, maybe offset some of this debt.
Are you concerned that the government's going to have to pay back these tariffs after the Supreme Court
Yeah.
ruling?
Well, I don't know that I don't know unless you may know some more than me, but I don't think the Supreme Court has addressed that. That was something that was the first question a lot of us had. Well, how are we going to get all this money back to these people? And the
Yeah.
Supreme Court hadn't addressed that, and the Trump administration says they're thinking and talking about it. So I think it'd be a concern to all that money, but the cumbersome of doing it would be pretty high. I'm not sure. So I don't know if we know a way, or even if it needs to be paid back. We'll see. That's going to be coming to force to see if that happens or not. But it would create a cash flow issue with America because we've taken in so much money on tariffs.
Yeah, it would be a lot of money if that indeed had to happen. One more question on this here. The president's approval rating and the GOP's overall standing, they've been dragged down, as we've all seen, in part by the perceptions of chaos from Minneapolis, infighting in the Republican Party, and other things. But when you talk to small businesses and small business owners in District 25 there, do they tell you they want more Trump-style confrontation or more stability and predictability from Washington?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. So I've been in business 57 years, and look, anybody will tell you we love normality. We love to know what to expect. We didn't have that with the Biden administration. They made up rules as they went along, and it was all built on heavy-handed big government audits, etc., CFPB, that kind of thing. When I talk to Main Street America, which I'm a part of, what we like is we like less regulations, and we like conformity, as you said, to where we know if we do this or what's going to be happening. And I think Main Street's happy with the way the President Trump's running the business of America. I mean, we finally have the businessman running the business of America. And
But
the
but there,
bottom is
there's
we
a lot
got,
of there is chaos. I'm sorry, Congressman. I mean, people obviously have seen the chaos with the tariffs, the the erratic nature of putting tariffs on different countries for different things. What are businesses saying about this? Because Texas sells to the world.
well, I mean, they do. I'm saying what we want to do is make sure we're competitive. Main Street America wants to be competitive. We don't want to have to pay too much for competitive goods coming over here that we can't sell at the price because they have a lower price of the price point than we do. And so they just the conformity is good. But I don't know about you know people that are scared of what they see happening. I mean, you see all this stuff happening in Minnesota and around. I mean, that's a whole nother issue. We need to get rid of the bad guys. And first, we create a situation of a downtown area, for example, you're a small business owner and you can't open your business because you're going to get the windows knocked out or the inventory
Yeah.
stolen. That's a bad deal. That costs insurance. People can't get insurance. So the bottom line is, from Main Street America, tell me what the rules of the game are, and I'll play. But I don't want to compete. I don't have to compete against the government. I want to compete against my competitor, and I want to know what I need to pay in taxes, what I need to do to hire people, and keep it simple. Because the greatest asset we got is Americans, and this is a great workforce. So we need to let them work and be on the offense and not defense.
And we started the interview asking about the election. I mean, obviously, you don't have a primary opponent. You're in a Republican safe district here, but is there concern among your Republican colleagues about what might happen in the House come November?
Well, anytime you take the field, there's concern. If you don't take the field, being concerned whether you're going to win or lose, you might have a real problem. But I think, look, if we have the famous one vote margin in the House, we can't afford to lose the thing. The Democrats are motivated, but so are Republicans to keep the majority, and we don't want to lose in the next cycle because a lot of what President Trump has done could be done away with. We'll go back to the big government game. So I think Republicans are motivated. I think we will win. I think in a lot of ways we'll win because the 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 way the Democratic Party stands now, they'll talk about confusion. They got confusion. I don't think we're as confused as they are. I think it gives us a head start to get our message out. But I would close by saying this: what we have to do as Republicans is sell what we've done, and not chase rabbits down the hole. We need to talk about less government. We need to talk about the economy. We need to talk about all the things you and I talked about today that President Trump and the Republicans have done, and we need to sell that because we have something to sell. Right now, the Democrats are just kind of defensive and just blame Trump for everything, but there's no fixes. And I think at the end of the day, that's not a winning message. And I think ours is a winning message. We show the accomplishments we've done.
Congressman, thank you for the time.
Always enjoyed being with you. Thank you.